All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo flying solo this week. Big D is out on vacation for the holidays. Looking forward to seeing him next week as well. So in the meantime, you've got me, Michael D'Angelo, all by his lonesome here, recapping Raw and SmackDown this week, coming off of Saturday night's main event. Obviously, that was kind of the big culmination of John Cena's final year. So the retirement happened. We all know he tapped out to Gunther. You all saw that on the recap show last week. Essentially, this week was really the continuation of that. So Monday Night Raw, you immediately had the video package and the recap Saturday Night Main Event, which they did also at the beginning of SmackDown. So we got plenty of John Cena on both shows. And then you had Gunther out to open the show to basically do a victory lap over John Cena. He just cut a promo, very short and sweet, just saying he made Cena tap out like a little expletive. And then he left and then came back and then walked around, got, I would say, Dominic Mysterio levels of heat from the crowd. They were really booing him, booing him out of the building. And then he basically walked out, kind of had a stare down with AJ Styles. And I'm like, oh, great. Are they going to have him retire AJ Styles now? It's almost become Gunther's new moniker is retiring people. It's what it feels like. So they kind of tease that a little bit. You also had Adam Pearce confront Gunther in the parking lot and basically say that because Gunther made Cena tap out, which was he was completely within his rights to do. They were having a wrestling match and he won clean over John Cena. But because he did that, his night was done because he didn't like it, which was very strange. Like Adam Pearce looked like a kind of a pouting baby and a very, very biased for someone who's supposed to be kind of an unbiased general manager. It just kind of came off as weird, but Gunther got the rest of the night off apparently for doing his job and beating John Cena. So that's how it opened up. And then we immediately went into first match of the night, which was the Usos in a tag match against the New Day. Now, Usos picked up the win after a solid match. And it was kind of a long match when you consider by the time that the promo was done and the match was completed, that was already like the first hour of the show. So there was not a whole lot happening in that first hour on the Netflix show for Monday Night Raw. After this, you got the announcement that LA Knight is injured indefinitely due to the tsunami from Bronson Reed. So the whole purpose of that was to write him off of television, which I guess makes sense if he needed to take time off to have that happen because they had essentially had him lose clean to Gunther and submit by submission, excuse me, and then had him get destroyed by the Vision. So it looks like he's going to be off TV for a little bit of time, maybe some well-deserved time off. He did sign a new contract, it sounds like, so that's good. But I really hope when he comes back, they give him a significant push, get him into the world title picture, do something with LA Knight. But they already let us know won't be back anytime soon. Next out, we had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky out, and then as Rhea was walking down to the ring, Asuka immediately misted her in the eyes from the crowd. So that was really it. They were just basically got attacked by the Kabuki Warriors. After that, we had Maxine Dupree defend her Intercontinental Championship against Ivy Nile. It was a good, solid match. Maxine did retain first successful defense after locking in the ankle lock submission. Good match. Solid stuff. Nothing really to report there. After this, you had the setup with El Grande Americano backstage with Javon Evans, really, and setting up next week. I believe it's going to be Javon Evans versus Rayo Americano. So that'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes. After that, you had CM Punk come out and cut a promo. Sorry, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here. You can definitely hear it in my voice. But CM Punk came out and just cut it. A solid promo on Braun Breaker and how he really didn't beat CM Punk alone at War Games. And just again continuing to tease their matchup coming up on the the Netflix anniversary show, is what we'll call it. After that, we got Raquel Rodriguez taking on Stephanie Vaquer. It was a strong match. It was a good match. Ended kind of disappointingly in a DQ, which tends to happen pretty often when Nikki Bella interfered, which I was like, can we please be done with Nikki Bella at this point? I was hoping that when John Cena retired, moved on, Nikki Bella would retire, move on too. That clearly hasn't happened. So we got a disqualification due to Nikki's interference. Seems like we're going to see a blow-off match between her and Stephanie Vaquer, which I am not looking forward to, not really interested in seeing. And then after this, you had the main event. It's only 4 matches. The main event was Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. This one was really short, but it was very, very good. Logan Paul and Rey obviously have good chemistry together. They had that U.S. Championship program some time ago, and this one was really solid. But the big note from this one was, of course, the Bronze came down to interfere. CM Punk ambushed them with a chair to even the odds. Then you had Paul Heyman slip the brass knuckles to Logan Paul. And then you had the masked man, the mysterious masked man that came in and he hit Rey with a stomp. And then Logan Paul with the frog splash for the win. You had CM Punk run down. Mystery Man fled, ran up the stairs. And then in the least surprising reveal of all time, very slowly pulled up a ski mask, to reveal that, of course, it's Austin Theory. Which, by the way, I got to tell you, my biggest gripe with WWE right now is the fact that they do a terrible job of keeping anything secret. They have been saying for months, there was rumors for months that Austin Theory was going to come back and join the Vision. So when you had this like super jack buffed up mystery guy that interfered at Survivor Series, it was obviously Austin Theory. And then they kind of teased it for 2 weeks. At least they didn't let it play out for a very long time. They had 2 weeks of teasing, but nobody was surprised because it's been the rumor for months and months and months that Austin Theory was going to join the Vision. And so, predictably so, he's the masked man. And everyone's acting shocked and surprised, like, oh my gosh, it's Austin Theory. And he cut his hair, and I don't really particularly like the way his hair looks now. But surprise, surprise, Austin Theory's the masked man. And this is similar to Gunther beating John Cena in the sense that Gunther had been teased for months and months and months. The rumor was that John Cena's final match was going to be against Gunther, and Gunther was going to retire him. And that was before they even announced the Last Time Is Now tournament. So WWE's come really, really, really bad about leaking information, telegraphing it for months, and then having it come to fruition, not changing anything up. So that does kind of let some of the excitement and anticipation out of these things because they're leaking stuff and then being very formulaic about following through with it. But yeah, Austin Theory's a masked man. We'll see how that goes. And then while CM Punk was recoiling from the surprise, Braun Breaker hit a spear and stood tall over CM Punk, and that's how the show ended for Raw. SmackDown also opened with a recap for Saturday Night's main event, and then you had Damian Priest kick off the show and come down and acknowledge John Cena as the greatest of all time and thank him, and then said, "Oh, by the way, I'm finished with Aleister Black." And that got interrupted by Selena Vega, who made fun of him. And then Aleister jumped Damian from behind. They brawled in the ring, then brawled out of the ring. Damian set up a table. Then Aleister got the upper hand and put Damian through the table with a running double knee from the ring apron, which actually was pretty cool when it happened. And then after the commercial break, Aleister attacked Damian backstage with a snow shovel and then a black mass. So that one went on a little too long for my taste. I was really hoping that they were done with Aleister Black, Damian Priest feud because for me, that's kind of run its course, but apparently not. After this, we got Lash Legend and Nia Jax in some matching Christmas themed gear, which actually looked pretty good. And then they were taking on the Kabuki Warriors in a non title match, trying to earn an opportunity at the title. The match itself was actually pretty good. The Kabuki Warriors are always really great. Lash Legend looks strong. Nia Jax, of course, always looks a little clunky now, but everybody else kind of made up for it. Nia did eventually hit a Kairi Sane with the Annihilator for the win. And then immediately afterwards, you had like Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair do like a rundown, like they were trying to save somebody, but they weren't. They just ran down and brawled with Nia and Lash. And then rather than being like a rescue, they weren't rescuing anybody. They just came rushing down and attacked them and then stood tall with the Kabuki Warriors titles because they're all feuding for the women's tag titles. After this, you got a overly produced, overly dramatic, ridiculous video package of what happened earlier in the week when Nick Aldis went to Drew McIntyre's house and brought a bunch of police and a camera crew there because he would misconstrue his words. I don't know why you need all the cops there for that. Maybe a camera crew. Don't really need all the cops in case he takes your words out of context. And then he basically, Drew's like, I'm not coming back to work because it's an unsafe work environment and a hostile work environment. But this was overly produced and kind of ridiculous. And basically Nick was like, hey, if you apologize and pay a fine, then you can come back. And then they made the stipulation that if he comes back and does those things, that Cody will be, if Cody attacks Drew McIntyre, then he'll be stripped of the WWE title. And then you had Drew look at his cell phone video camera and be like, you brought him here, you brought him here. And you see Cody outside. So Cody did the home invasion angle, which I don't know how many times we've seen the home invasion angle in WWE pretty frequently. I mean, I remember somewhat recently with AJ Styles and LA Knight that they did that angle. That happens more often than it doesn't. So this is a really overused trope for WWE. Also, is having the guy show up at the other person's house while there's a camera crew and a bunch of cops. So they brawled. And then on the actual show, you had Nick Aldis come down to the ring and Cody Rhodes come down to the ring. And then they kind of argued back and forth about how kind of what Cody did was assaulting a peace officer. I think Cody mentioned that, which is a felony. He admitted to a felony on live television. And Nick Aldis ended up interrupting him and saying that Drew was claiming an unsafe work environment. And then Cody wasn't above the law. And if Cody touches Drew and Drew gets back, Cody will be stripped of the titles. He told him all that. And then Cody cut probably the most heel promo that he's done so far, which I've been saying forever. Cody's really a heel at this point. But he told Nick that you're forgetting who you're talking to, and that it is best Judge Dredd impersonation, that as long as he has the title, he is the law. It was a total heel promo. He was like running down Nick and being very disrespectful to Nick Aldis. So I'm just still waiting for that Cody Rhodes heel turn, but this this wasn't even like a Stone Cold Steve Austin anti-hero thing. This was like a total heel promo from Cody. After this, you had a really great match with Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov against DIY. Probably match of the night, really, really strong. Everybody was really good. Carmelo Hayes was fantastic in this one. A lot of great near falls. Carmelo Hayes didn't end up picking up the win for his team. Hit the nothing but net on Ciampa. It was a great match. Really, really talented. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. It's really, really good. Main event was the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six for the tag titles. Specifically, it was Gacy and Loomis representing the Wyatt Six versus JC Mateo and Tama Tonga for the MFTs. Match was fine, but then it just devolved into a DQ finish, no contest finish, because everyone ringside all started brawling. Which again, WWE does that way too much now, where main events end up having a kind of a messy finish that ends in a no contest or a disqualification. But that's how it ended. Like everybody started brawling. The brawling continued. No team really stood tall because we went off air in the middle of the brawl. So I don't know, unless I went and looked it up online, which I didn't. I don't know if anyone really stood tall at the end. It was fine. Felt a little flat. Felt a little empty for me. I haven't been wildly thrilled with the whole Wyatt Six versus the MFTs thing. I wish they would do something substantial and move on at this point. But that feels like all of these feuds. They're stop starting them between that one. You have Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquer. You have Damian Priest and Aleister Black. They're just kind of continuing a lot of these feuds that I felt like already ran their course. But that was it. Not a whole heck of a lot. We're going into the Christmas break. They believe this is a pre-recorded SmackDown. I'm assuming that Raw on Monday night is going to be pre-recorded as well because they're giving folks time off for the holidays and then getting ready for the big Netflix show. So that's the big thing coming up is that January 5th Netflix anniversary show, the CM Punk versus Braun Breaker. So that'll be coming up soon in a few weeks. But that's all that happened this week. So yeah, biggest revelation, Austin Theory, obviously the masked man, mystery man, which is what everybody was expecting. But yeah, that's what we got for this week on the recap. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. If you agree, disagree with us, or just like talk about wrestling, we always love to hear from y'all. And that's what I got for this week. So I've been Michael D'Angelo. Thank you all so much. And have a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year's. And we'll see you soon.